Good morning, everybody. A very warm welcome to all of you to the United Nations. We have an exciting panel ahead of us. As you know, the United Nations has put in place 17 Sustainable Development Goals, what we call lofty goals, goals which can only be achieved through the help of what we call multi-stakeholder partnerships. Private sector, governments, civil society, entrepreneurs, innovators, and now I'd like to add astronauts. Today's panel is about what NASA is doing, what the International Space Station is doing, and how a wonderful organization called CASIS, let me get this right? CASIS, just checking if that was correct. CASIS is doing, now I will not spell the acronym, I'll let my good friend Jennifer Lopez do that for us. And by the way, that's the real Jennifer Lopez. So we are so excited to have a number of astronauts in our midst. And you will hear from them how their work is positively impacting society as a whole. We are privileged to have Mr. Leland Melvin, Mr. Garan, welcome. And of course, our good friend and longtime supporter of UN causes, Anousheh Ansari. Anousheh, thank you. So as I said to you, Jennifer Lopez is actually running everything in the International Space Station. We have a wonderful video ahead of us as well. You'll learn about that. But I want to start by requesting our distinguished astronauts to tell us a little bit about what they're doing so the audience around the world can see the wonderful work you're doing, and also how you can link it to the mission of the United Nations. So I think we're going to start, if the video button works, yes. We'll be playing the video, so they'll set the scene for you.
As the team here on the space
7,
also including the
6,
larger team in Houston and all the
5,
control centers around the world.
4, 3,
We have main booster ignition.
1. Ignition.
Let's clear the tower.
That's amazing. So, Anousheh, we want our viewers to learn from you as to how they can be involved in this exciting venture. But please first share with us the wonderful work you're doing. Welcome.
Thank you. So it's great to be here and exciting to be able to be part of the UN program this week. I'm one of the very, very fortunate people who had this amazing experience of traveling to space and be able to see our Earth, our home, from up there. And as all the astronauts can tell you, it leaves a lasting impression on you and helps you to see the world with a different set of eyes. And that experience is what has brought us together here today. Trying to find ways to share that experience, that view from up there, and how it translates into building a new world together that will be a world for all of us, where we all work together to protect it, to make it better for future generations to come. So that's why we're here and excited to be part of this panel.
Thank you so much for being here, and thank you for all that you do, including your support for X Prize. That's about really innovation and creativity. So, Leland, it's so exciting to have you back here. You must remember, the UN is your home, so you're coming home. So please tell us how you can link your activities to the work of the UN, because this has never happened before, that we have the privilege and honor to have 3 astronauts in the same room, same location, telling the UN how we can work together.
Thank you, Amir. Thank you, Anousheh and Ron and Jennifer. I'm very excited to be here because I do feel like I'm home. And you know, when we look at the planet from that vantage point of this orbital outpost traveling at 17,500 miles per hour, going around the planet every 90 minutes, I didn't see any borders. I know Ron will say he saw geographical borders and things, but I saw this fragile blue planet that we're all in charge of ensuring that we keep it sustained. And you know, I thought when I got to space, my aha moment would be when I installed this Columbus laboratory for doing research. And that's one of the things that CASIS is doing different research and things that can help people down on the planet. But that was not the moment when this final motion went and we installed it, we grew the space station by 1 module. The thing that changed my mind, transformed me, was when the first female commander, Dr. Peggy Whitson, invited us over to have a meal in the Russian segment. She said, "You guys bring the rehydrated vegetables, we'll have the meat." So we float over with this bag of vegetables, and we're sitting there, we're floating there, breaking bread with people we used to fight against. There's Russians and Germans in the flight. And if you looked at the picture, it was like a Benetton moment, like African-American, Asian-American, French, German, Russian, the first female commander, sharing this meal, traveling at 17,500 miles per hour. And I looked out the window and saw Virginia, where I'm from, and thinking about the people down there, my family having dinner. And then 5 minutes later, we're over Paris, and Leo Eilhartz is a French astronaut who is on the mission, and then over Russia. And so I think about the things that we're doing technologically to help advance our civilization, but I think about the social aspects of us coming together as a people to help affect change. And the biggest part of that is trying to inspire the next generation of explorers through education. And at one moment on the mission, on my second mission, there was another African-American astronaut in space with me, Dr. Bobby Satcher. We were interviewed by Tom Joyner, who's a radio personality in the States, and he has 1 million followership of primarily African-American listeners. And we were talking about our mission and things and so forth. And when I got home, there were mothers who stopped me. They saw me and they said, "You're the guy that was in space. My son listened to you and he wants to be an astronaut now. He's studying harder. He wants to do better." So just that one moment of talking for 10 minutes to the world really impacted this community of people that were listening. And I think that's one of the beautiful things about what we're doing on the space station, is we're having all of these people coming together from all these different walks of lives and races and religions, working together as one civilization to advance our world. That was my aha moment.
Wow. I don't know what to say, actually. This is unbelievable. It's so touching. Thank you, and I will come back to you with some requests for ideas of how the community as a whole can get more engaged in this work. So Ron, we're delighted to have you here, sir. I want to start by asking you a question. You have some sign here there. Would you mind also telling us how we might get that lapel? STS. Ron, warm welcome to you.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here with us. Please.
Yeah, so we're looking at the International Space Station, and you've heard some stories about the space station and how important it is. And one of the things that really hit me is this is probably the most complicated, complex structure ever built. It is an incredible achievement of humanity. And if you look at it, you have to think that 15 nations did this amazing thing in space. Some of these nations weren't always the best of friends. Some are on opposite sides of the Cold War, opposite sides of the space race. And what really hit me when I was up there was, if we can do that, if we could set aside our differences and work together to do something great in space, imagine what we can do by bringing that same level of collaboration and cooperation down on the Earth's surface. And we've been talking about how wonderful it is to be in space, but one of the perspectives that you have in space is that you don't have to be on the International Space Station to be in space. We're all in space already, all of us. Every one of us is riding through the universe together on this spaceship that we call Earth. So, you know, we're all crewmates together on this spaceship. And one of the things that we're all coming together to recognize is a 100-year journey on space, through space. And if you think of the date, December 24th, 1968, that was the first time we as humans, with our own eyes, saw the whole planet hanging in the blackness of space as Apollo 8 rounded the backside of the moon on their historic mission. And when you look at a space mission, the space mission that we're on, a 100-year journey, any space mission, we have to sometimes make course corrections. And there's no more important course correction than the mid-course correction. So if we take a 100-year journey through space from 1968 to 2068, we're coming up on the 50th anniversary of Earthrise, that first photo that we took of the planet. And so we're coming together to look at that. What should the world look like in 2068? And what's the roadmap to get there? You know, the accomplishment of the SDGs by 2030. That's one of the steps along the way. What future do we want to build now? So we're inviting everybody to help co-imagine what the future should look like. And then hopefully in 2018, we'll make a good mid-course correction to get us. We're going to look at where we are, where we need to go, and what we need to do to get there, and make a mid-course correction. And we are thrilled to be here to support the SDGs, to support the UN and everything they're doing, because we see the value of working together to solve the problems that we all face together.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the strong support. It's quite clear. You just mentioned a very important point. We talk about the planet. We forget there's a whole universe outside. Secretary General Ban Ki-moon, when he started the process for the Sustainable Development Goals, which are behind you, he said, we need to think of 5 Ps. Peace, prosperity, people, planet, and partnerships. What I call creating peace and prosperity for people on the planet through partnerships. I think we need to take the word planet out and replace it with universe. PPP, UP. Or PUPS. So on that note, I want to invite my good friend Jennifer Lopez. As I said, that's the real J-Lo, by the way. She's a wonderful human being, and now watch her correct me. CASIS. 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 I was so excited to hear about CASIS and what you're doing at CASIS to help thread all the people, learn more, do more, and make it a better world. So warm welcome to you. Quite well, thank you.
Thank you. Can you hear me? Okay, great. Well, thank you so much for that fantastic introduction, and I'm thrilled to be up here with these esteemed panelists and to talk to you all today about what we're doing on the International Space Station and why this is so significant for us in relation to the Sustainable Development Goals. So my role at CASIS, or Center for the Advancement of Science and Space, I'm the Commercial Innovation Technology Lead for the organization, and basically that means that I get to interface with all of the big companies in the technology sector, in addition to academia, other government agencies, and to try to educate and bring new partnerships, new programs to work with us on the International Space Station. So to give a little background, our organization, CASIS, was established in 2011 from a bipartisan Congress cooperative agreement, or a bipartisan cooperative agreement from U.S. Congress selected by NASA to be the managers of the space station U.S. National Laboratory. And it was designated as a national laboratory in 2005. And essentially, we have the task to bring all the technological innovations, the advancements, and of course to educate and bring access to the space station for the betterment of mankind and to better planet Earth. And a lot of the work that we do is basically centered and overlaps around the Sustainable Development Goals. We're working on a number of projects and programs with a couple of entities throughout the UN system, and we're going to be announcing those pretty soon. But again, to emphasize the importance that, as these esteemed panelists have described about the space station, it is the most technological achievement and as I wasn't saying humankind or as us as a species, and for us to be able to take advantage and to leverage this incredible place for the betterment of our Earth, that's our goal. So we're very excited and thrilled to also be a part of the UN and to support the Sustainable Development Goals.
Jennifer, thank you very much. Hi. So as you can imagine, the audience here will want to know, how can they get involved? And I hope you've got us tickets to go up to ISS. And by the way, it's worth noting, 227 astronauts, if I'm not mistaken, have already visited the space station, of which 124, I'm sorry.
It's more, 236?
Okay.
Total, I think we have over 550
Over 500.
people who have visited space,
Very,
but
yes.
about 10% women, I would say. Yeah.
And by the way, that's not good enough.
Hopefully.
We need
Yes.
50-50 gender balance, and I hope that'll change. But what is more exciting is, Ron, you mentioned about collaboration, about different countries coming together. We forget differences up there. We must forget differences here. And I want to invite our viewers to learn more about the wonderful work CASIS is doing. Very easy to find it. The moment you search for CASIS, you get it. ISS-dot, please.
ISS-casis.org and also spacestationresearch.com.
So another thing I'd like to do is I would like to recognize our distinguished astronauts. Maybe we'll find a way to ensure that your work is publicized widely at the United Nations. And I want to, on behalf of the organization, thank everybody for being here. I want to thank my good friend Sergio Fernandez de Cordova, the founder of the PVBLIC Foundation, as well as our co-hosts, CODE and GSMA, who have made this thing possible. While behind you, heads of states and government are talking, we are taking action. And thank you again for being here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.